Hello, my darlings, and welcome back to another exciting adventure right here on the best in paranormal talk radio, Radio Wasteland. Kara, do you have any news for us today?
Yes, I do. So, New York City is showing an increase in UFO sightings this year, with 184 sightings so far this year, compared to 151 total for the entire year last year. So, one individual reported being physically assaulted by a craft using some sort of ray. Quote, "I felt this heat-like feeling going through my body," they reported, "starting at my head like some sort of radiation, burning me, like frying me, and that's when I realized it was the craft." Freaky stuff. A tourist in Scotland taking pictures off Shannonry Point, not quite sure how you say that, has captured photos which he believes are evidence that the Loch Ness Monster has found a new home. The photos were captured when he was taking pictures of swimmers in the water. He claims he did not notice the protruding head of the creature until later. The images are compelling, or at least as compelling as any other photo of the Loch Ness Monster, which is to say it's a grainy photo of a curved object rising from the water that kind of looks like a reptile head. Experts warn that the increasing availability of user-facing deepfake apps, such as the app Reface, could in time spawn a misinformation crisis. While the technology has existed to create convincing user-generated videos of real people for years, experts warn that this technology has now become accessible to the average person. The Reface app has already been downloaded more than 42 million times. Nina Schick, author of a book titled Deepfakes, The Upcoming Infopocalypse, worries that the ethical and moral considerations behind this technology may be, quote, 3 steps behind the business development. However, so far, Reface has shared information with companies like Facebook so they can build deepfake detection tools. And finally, the mystery of sudden elephant deaths in Botswana earlier this year appears to have been solved. Nearly 330 elephants were found dead due to unclear causes. Scientists now believe the death was not due to poaching or poisoning, but due to toxic blooms of cyanobacteria as a result of the warming climate. Cyanobacteria is a blue-green algae and naturally occurring neurotoxin, which now blooms more frequently in water sources due to climate change. Tests revealed that the elephants drank algae-poisoned water and died as a result. Other animal species do not appear affected by the algae. Back to you, Chauncey.
All right, New York sightings. Okay, this makes me think of 2 things. Two very obnoxious things.
Okay.
Surprise, surprise. One is that apparently to the long list of coronavirus symptoms, we can add UFO sightings.
You mean like UFO hallucinations?
Yeah. Apparently.
I guess that it might have not been a heat ray, but a fever, as his brain imagined a craft frying him with a ray.
And then the other is that the heat laser, there has to be some sort of crowd control Trump joke in there somewhere. I just haven't put it together.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point, because it didn't occur to me when I was putting together this news that heat rays are actually like a thing that exists now and not science fiction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I saw a reporter get hit by one. Have you ever seen this video?
I've never seen it used. I've heard it's agonizing. But. Yeah.
So there's this reporter and they're testing it on him and he's all, okay, so they're about to turn it on and he's watching, he's all right, go. And he's all 1,000, 2,000. And then he takes off running after 2 seconds because it just burns, and it's wild. But,
yeah, it's terrifying. Especially since this stuff just gets used on peaceful protesters all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, dang, there's a crowd. Better burn them.
Yeah, and I got to put this out there anyway, even if they aren't peaceful protesters, because I know a lot of people listening are going what, they're rioters. Even if they are rioters, you probably still shouldn't use a heat laser ray on your own people.
Yeah, well...
That's just kind of like, free country 101. I understand you got to reel it in and some bad things are going to happen, but, using untested laser technology on your own people, that's a little weird. I mean,
I think it is tested. And to be fair, I don't know that it's that much worse than tear gas, but
it is tested and the military decided not to use it. So it's
really? Okay.
No, the military doesn't use it. Yeah.
Well, the military can't use tear gas either, because it's a chemical weapon.
Right.
But we're allowed to use it on our own people,
Yeah, I got to use it in my yard for like when squirrels are getting my stuff.
Freaking squirrels.
I know.
Yeah. Just old men in the neighborhood yelling at the squirrels that all lives matter.
Yeah, totally. Except for theirs.
Well, I mean, they're squirrels. Who cares?
But realistically, okay, so getting back to the topic at hand.
Which is UFOs.
New York UFO sightings. This is, half of one would say, of course, they're home more.
Sure. Yeah.
Because of coronavirus and all this stuff. They're home, they're on their porches, they're having beers, looking at the sun. The moon.
Is that what people do?
You get my point. They're looking up, they're home more. The other flip side of that for me, though, is light pollution.
Yeah.
Is this New York State or New York City?
No, it's New York City.
Wow. Huh. Because with light pollution, you wouldn't be able to see very high.
You wouldn't think it would be really a hotspot for sightings, but UFO, again, just means unidentified flying object. And I imagine there's a lot of
drone activity and
drones, just air traffic, just misidentified stuff.
Right.
So.
And, photos of the Loch Ness Monster to create another obnoxious parallel to the current state of the world. It's like calling it the COVID or the China virus. Does it really get to be called the Loch Ness Monster anymore if it moved?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm worried that maybe this is a ploy by other parts of Scotland to cash in on that sweet Loch Ness Monster tourist money.
I wonder how much that is. I bet you
it's
a lot more than we're thinking.
It's the economy of the surrounding towns of Loch Ness.
Yeah,
is fictional reptile based. I'm sorry for Loch Ness Monsters believers out there. I can do Bigfoot, I can do UFOs. I just don't believe in the Loch Ness Monster.
Really?
No, because the sightings that kicked it all off were hoaxes, and we know that because the people were like, "Hey, this was a hoax." And it's not like Bigfoot where, there's legends of this creature going back thousands of years or anything.
There aren't?
It goes back to the, mid or early 20th century, and that's kind of it.
You're saying Lake Champlain has more credibility of Champ than the Loch Ness Monster?
I don't know specifically, but are there legends of that going back? And
there's the Okanoe or whatever, which is supposedly some river serpent. And then supposedly when Hudson was going through the area, he put through the original report of seeing something.
Well, there you go. Then yes, I would say the Champy or whatever has more credibility than Nessie. Nessie is just, better known. But I think as cryptids go, the evidence is remarkably weak.
One of the thoughts behind Loch Ness is that all the locks are connected from underwater volcanic tubes and stuff.
Sure, yeah.
So, he might just be going to his summer house.
Look, I'm not saying there couldn't be a prehistoric reptile.
Starting to piss me off here, Kara.
In the lake. No, I know. I'm just saying there's no evidence. So, why should we believe there's any more likely to be a reptile there than anywhere else?
Right. Deep fake misinformation crisis from Reface. Again, this brings me back to the Fugazi lyric, which I'm sure was taken from something else. It doesn't matter what you're selling, it's what you're buying. The misinformation crisis is a crisis. The crisis is not the misinformation that people are putting out. It's how stupid people are to take it all in.
I completely agree.
And yes, there is a massive, massive crisis.
I used to think this was a problem. But then COVID came out, and and I realized it's not going to change anything if there's fake videos and stuff that look real going around, because people don't need the videos to be convincing fakes to believe them. They will choose to believe or disbelieve, whatever they want.
Yeah. Haven't they seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2? Kurt Russell is not a young man. Yet they made him a young man. Surely we've, literally 80% of adults in this country have probably seen some sort of aging technology that was jaw-dropping to them in a movie that they saw.
Yeah, well, the difference here is that, it used to be that, this was stuff that would take like an expert weeks to do. Now it's stuff that takes some dude 20 minutes to do.
Yeah,
but you're right. I don't think the deep fakes are what's going to change things. I think our continuing crisis in terms of just having really bad education and information literacy is the crisis.
Yeah, I love this guy, so I'm going to leave his name out of the conversation. But a friend of mine, I'm posting on Facebook. I never post anything really political. Sometimes I like to jab a little. I don't want any big political conversation. But the one thing I post is that I think we should look into ranked voting in order to change this two-party system.
Sure.
And I post a video on what ranked voting is. And I immediately get this response from some guy I know he's not an idiot. And he's just all, we can't get rid of the Electoral College because of this, that, and the other thing. And I'm just all, that's not what I posted about. It's like he just read the title and then started vomiting out his opinion on it. And it's like, this is what people do, and people need to keep that in check. People.
Yeah, no. I think this is also a question of like well-curated online communities, because a lot of like the best, most, intellectually stimulating to be in communities on the internet have mods who will like if you obviously didn't read an article and just posted based on the title, like you will be banned, because it's like they don't want stupid people in their channel. So, right. It's I think that's kind of the future. We just need to start moderating all our online communities.
Yeah, or at least being smart enough to know when you're in one that isn't.
Yeah. Thing is, a lot of people don't mind having online communities.
I just think people need to stop being such hypocrites. Chambers. They're all about like themselves, their own freedom, taking control of all this stuff, yet they do nothing to make themselves smarter or more educated. They just process out a bunch of crap and spit it back out as though they learned something. If you're going to be all cocky and basically act like you know everything, you got to get out there and know everything. Here's the rule. If you start any sentence with technically or actually, you damn well better be right or you're a jackass.
Well, let's do a complete overhaul of human nature and get back to all of us on that.
Well, I think we're working on it. Yeah, and finally, sudden elephant deaths. I hadn't heard of this.
That's sad.
But they're dying from toxic blooms of bacteria due to global warming. And the only thing I have really to say about this is, must be embarrassing to die from something that doesn't exist.
Dang. I feel vaguely owned now. You owned me.
All right, you're listening to Radio Wasteland. Tonight, our guest is Hep Aldridge, and we're talking about something we've never talked about before. And I got to say, we both latched onto this topic immediately.
Yeah.
We're talking about sunken treasure and treasure hunting and lost cities.
That's a good
Absolutely cool. This guy's the real deal. He really did this stuff, and it is really interesting. Especially, it's weird, the politics of treasure hunting.
Not like national politics, but like, back room eye, scratch your back, you scratch mine politics. Like, it's freaky stuff.
Yeah, it's weird stuff. All right, so stick around. Hep Aldridge coming up here on Radio Wasteland.